The Florida Panthers have done it. They are back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, dispatching the Edmonton Oilers once again. Canada still without a Stanley Cup, but Florida, the more deserving team in this series. We're going to break down in this video exactly how we got to this point, what to expect for the Florida Panthers in the offseason, and do we expect the Florida Panthers to repeat or be back to the Stanley Cup a fourth time in a row to defend their title. This Florida Panthers team is magically built. They are phenomenal, top to bottom. 3 deep lines, a good fourth line, a very strong top 4 defensemen, a great coach, a decent third pairing grouping of defensemen, and a phenomenal goaltender in Sergei Bobrovsky, and a fantastic GM in Bill Zito. This organization from top to bottom has become world class, and they have dug themselves out of a hole that they started with coming into the NHL as an expansion franchise. They were bad for a long time. There were fans missing in the stands. So to those fans that are still with the Panthers today, going to the games when no one else would go, and now you're relishing in 2 Stanley Cups, I salute you for sticking with your team and being a real OG. And to those of them who joined the bandwagon as hockey in Florida gets more and more popular, we also give you a nod and a tip to the cap. There are no bad fans. There are only hockey fans. It is nothing but love on this channel. So congrats to Floridians, to Miami, to everybody in Florida who claims the Panthers as their own, and outside of Florida. You have back-to-back Stanley Cups. And teams like this and a playoff run like this doesn't happen by accident. The way these lines were constructed was a perfect storm put together by an entire organization. It isn't one player, it isn't one coach, it isn't one magical GM. It is a series of events over the last 10 to 12 years that has put this team together. No, it's not taxes. No, it's not Gary Bettman. It's just an organization that learned how to put a group of misfits together. Yes, misfits. I'm going to explain that to you through this entire video. And those misfits have performed. Those misfits have played phenomenal playoff hockey. And those misfits were paired with a few key pieces in the last couple years, like Matthew Tkachuk and Brad Marchand, that took them to the next level. It is a great combination of talent, a coach's eye, a little bit of money puck, a little bit of luck, and a whole lot of skill paired with a massive amount of heart and an ability to play playoff hockey that some folks will never not complain about. They love the big hits. They love the grittiness of the NHL. They don't like the passiveness of the NBA, yet still we hear the drumbeat. We don't like the way the Florida Panthers play hockey. Hooey. I love teams that can go the distance and win a Stanley Cup. The Florida Panthers have done it. And you may be wondering, where did I get the nice threads from? Thank you to my friend Augie in Florida. I appreciate you sending this to me. Sometimes we get amazing support from unbelievable fans like him and everybody else on this channel. He thought he appreciates what we do. He wanted to say thanks. He sent a jersey up. So this is right from the heart of Florida. I promised you I'd wear it on screen. And for the rest of you guys, no, you don't need to send a jersey to support me on this channel. You just need to do one or all of 3 things. Number 1, like the video. It helps spread it. Number 2, most importantly, comment our last video, best video we've ever dropped in terms of engagement. Tripled the amount of comments we normally have, and it's still climbing. You're going to click on it at the end of this video if you haven't already watched it. And hit a subscribe. Unbelievable hockey content on this channel, brought to you by yours truly, the team I have around me, and the amazing fans that comment on in. And if you really like the content, you don't have to do this. But if you loved the content for these playoffs and you want to support Coach Ryan D, we watched 90 playoff games, covered them all. Buy Me Coffee down below is a link, very similar to Super Thanks that you have on YouTube or Patreon or any of those. Feel free to buy Coach Ryan D a coffee for all the late nights we've had. But again, no pressure. Just hit the like and comment button. Bill Zito, the man, the myth, the legend, comes in to Florida and everything changes on September 2nd, 2020. He was hired as the general manager of the Florida Panthers, and he gets his guy. You've heard me talk about this before. Paul Maurice, a real coach's coach, one of the only coaches in the NHL to have over 1,000 wins. The Stanley Cup forever evading him. Carolina, Toronto, Winnipeg, beloved in almost every city he traveled to, but a journeyman, a coach that is good with professionals, a coach that is good and known for taking pro players and making them the best they can be, but not a coach known for dealing with rookies or taking teams all the way to the top, a coach that takes them as close to the top of the mountain before he hands it off to another Sherpa who ends up winning the Stanley Cup. This coach came into a stacked roster in Florida. Bill Zito believed in him, and Paul Maurice is not disappointed. And it is the perfect storm of a coach because this is a between the whistles, tough, hard-nosed coach that does it with a smile and does it with charm. He is eloquent. He is well-spoken. He is very smart behind the bench. His players love playing for him. People love being around him. I have had the privilege to meet this man multiple times. He is a top-tier human being. He's a top-tier family man. He's top-tier with all the kids that were around us in Winnipeg that he helped and interacted with in his coaching days. But he really is the right coach for the job for this group of misfits. Being a misfit himself, fired from multiple teams, he now has back-to-back Stanley Cups as his claim to fame. But everything starts on the Florida Panthers with Aleksander Barkov. Barkov was drafted round 1, pick 2 in 2013. And you can see here, he bypassed a guy named Jonathan Drouin and a teammate in Seth Jones. Seth Jones was supposed to go second. They reached for Barkov and jaws hit the floor. Why are you taking this guy? You have an elite defender there. Well, he hasn't disappointed, has he? They knew what we didn't know. It might not be a Bill Zito pick, but it is a cornerstone player. And the Finnish player is why they're so good. I mean, just look at what he did here after his rookie contract. He signs a 6-year deal worth $5.9 million. And the takeaway here, defensive players never get the flowers they deserve. It takes till 2022, 2023 under Bill that he finally gets paid what he deserves. He finally gets recognized as the top tier talent he is, as the top 5 NHL player that the Finnish phenom is. He's a Selke winner. He'll be a Selke winner many more times before his career is over. He gets points. He scores goals. He's the captain of the team. You don't win Stanley Cups without him. He's joined by Sam Reinhart from the draft year of 2014, second overall pick of the Buffalo Sabres. He falls behind another known Panther, Aaron Ekblad, and he is taken above Leon Draisaitl and above Sam Bennett in the same draft. Now, obviously, we're not here to debate the order of the draft. We're here to talk about the Florida Panthers. And it's not till 2021 in a swap with Buffalo that Reinhart ends up coming over. And boy, what an impact this guy has made to the team. He finally gets his first big contract. As you can see here, $8.6 million he's paid as the top player that he is. But before that on Florida, he took one heck of a deal, $6.5 million after coming over from Buffalo. And in Buffalo, bridge deals, 3.6, 5.2. Are you seeing a bit of a trend here yet? He's only number 1, but when we click into Carter Verhaeghe, you'll see it more. Florida finds players that other teams discard, and those players perform. Because here you have Carter Verhaeghe, a 29-year-old draftee of the Toronto Maple Leafs, round 3, in that same draft of 2013. There's a theme here, 2013, 2014. Verhaeghe doesn't even make the NHL for the first quadrillion years, it feels like, in his career. From 2013 all the way through to 2018, 2019, Verhaeghe is in the minors, going as low as the East Coast Hockey League, finally cracking into the NHL where he gets a chance with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they waive him. Not to waivers, they waive him goodbye out the door as they do not pick up his RFA'd contract. They said, yeah, we have rights to negotiate with you, but we don't have room. Florida does, signs him for $1 million, keeps him in the league. That $1 million goes a long way because after that, He is signed to a $4.1 million deal and outperforms that like crazy to the point where now he finally gets his flowers. Bill signs him for the $7 million deal. This is how you build winners. Diamonds in the rough, baby. And big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games, and that's Carter Verhaeghe. Sam Bennett comes in from 2014, a discardee from Calgary. He can't make it work with Calgary. He doesn't like his position. He's frustrated with Calgary. And as you can see here, plenty of opportunity from the Calgary Flames to sign him to a long-term deal. Frustration calms down from players when they get 8 years and large sums of money, but Calgary doesn't do it. They trade him for basically a bag of pucks over to the Florida Panthers, and the rest is history. He's going to get a massive deal, not unlike Sam Reinhart and Carter Verhaeghe. We'll talk about that more at the end. But it is $4.25 million that he is signed to. And once again, another team's discarded player becomes one of the most important players to win a Stanley Cup. You can call him dirty. You can call him cheap. I call him a winner. I call him the Conn Smythe winner. I call him the most important player in the playoffs on the Florida Panthers. And you best believe, I think he is going to get a big payday. If Verhaeghe got $7 million and Reinhart got north of $8 million, I think this guy's coming in at $9 million, possibly even $10 million, but he may give the hometown discount. I think he's going to remain a Panther for life. Out of the big three free agents, I think he's the safest one for Florida to re-sign. And then how about Matthew Tkachuk, the year 2016, round 1, pick 6. Can you really believe 6 players went ahead of this guy? I mean, if you can go back again, you can make an argument for Austin Matthews, but Mr. Matthews has yet to win as Tkachuk has blown by him twice on his way to the Stanley Cup. You could easily make an argument that Matthew Tkachuk has been the best player in this draft, at least the most impactful as he came to the Calgary Flames, and very much like Sam Bennett, a bridge deal was signed from Calgary. This is why 8-year deals matter for your cornerstone players. Sometimes you got to overpay them when they're young in order to keep them. $7 million, 3 years, will get a deal done later. That deal done later was a trade to the Florida Panthers. Again, a brilliant move by Bill, bringing him in for Huberdeau and Uyghur. And Florida wins that trade because what a cornerstone clutch player in the playoffs he has been. How about Eetu Luostarinen? You guys hate it. I'm never going to say the last name right. So, nothing I can do. Eetu, Carolina, a rival of the Florida Panthers, round 2, 2017 pick. Again, comes over to the Florida Panthers in 2020 and 2021, plays 1 year with the Carolina Hurricanes. It's a quick trade for Vincent Trocheck. I get it. Centermen are important, but I mean, this guy, his defensive prowess, monumental for the Florida Panthers. Penalty kill specialist, two-way player, absolute dynamo. You do not win a Stanley Cup without pairing him with the next guy we're going to talk about, which is Anton Lundell, and a veteran in Brad Marchand that understands how to play hockey the right way. You score goals when it's the right time, but goals are derived from strong defense, which line 3 epitomizes in Florida, and Eetu is a massive part of that. Anton Lundell, pick 12, 2020, Florida Panthers draft pick. Very rare that Florida has their own draft picks. He comes in $5 million for a centerman this good. And he is locked in till 2029, 2030. This is how you save room to pay guys like Bennett, like Reinhart, like Verhaeghe, and continue to build and win multiple Stanley Cups. An absolute two-way specialist and a difference maker for this team as the third line center. He is paid at least $3 million under what he is worth when you compare him to other third line centers, say Wyatt Johnson with Dallas. Brad Marchand, the right guy for the job for Florida. You want to see what a team guy looks like? Look at Brad Marchand, and you can see it even in what he charges his team. The Boston Bruins were good for as long as they were because guys like Marchand and Bergeron took massive, absolutely massive hometown discounts to stay with their team. 8-year deals, $6.125 million. It's why he now has 2 Stanley Cups to his name. He is a brilliant player. He's a brilliant leader. You love him on your team. You love him as a fan. You love him in the locker room. If you don't love this guy, I don't know if you love hockey. Or you're an Oilers fan, which is completely fair because, they just lost. Or a Leafs fan because he tends to also destroy the Leafs. Brad Marchand things. Aaron Ekblad, free agent, drafted 101 for the Florida Panthers in 2014. And with 2 Stanley Cups, you wouldn't redo this pick. Obviously, you want Leon Draisaitl, but at the end of the day, Draisaitl has 0, Ekblad 2. Ekblad also signs an 8-year deal in 2017-2018 that expires at $7.5 million, which is a discount for the big man on the blue line, one of the better two-way defenders in the NHL today. He's up as a free agent. He's a massive reason they won a Stanley Cup. He's an alternate captain for the team. I think after Sam Bennett, he's the second priority for the team. The question is, will he take a deep enough hometown discount to stay? Because if he doesn't, he has Seth Jones breathing down his neck. He has 4 years left on his contract, and this is a true bona fide number 1 stud defender. $9.5 million he's locked in for the next 4 years to the Florida Panthers. What an absolute trade and stud deal for this guy. So not only do they get Barkov, but they also get Seth Jones. And the wild piece is Chicago even retains some of his salary. $2.5 million of that salary, to be specific, making his cap hit only $7 million. What a great job by this organization and this GM bringing in players like that. 4 more years of this guy. If you're unable to sign Ekblad to another deal because he wants to explore somewhere else, you still have a bona fide number 1 defenseman here, and you can start retooling through free agency trades and possibly the draft. Then we've got Gustav Forsling. The Swede has been nothing but dynamite for the Florida Panthers. He was drafted by the Vancouver Canucks. They let him go to the Chicago Blackhawks almost immediately. From there and Chicago, he ends up on the Florida Panthers because he has a little bit of a stop in Carolina, and Carolina ends up flipping him over to Florida. And by flipping him over to Florida, I mean they put him on waivers, and Florida picked him up off waivers for basically nothing. Stanley Cup champion, back-to-back, top pairing defender. What else is there to say? Niko Mikkola, very popular in Florida. Dynamic player, $2.5 million cap hit. It's cap hits like this and finding guys who can excel like this that helps you win Stanley Cups. What a bonus to have a player like this on your team getting paid that. His contract isn't up till 2025, 2026, so you have 1 more year with this guy at a deal, and then he's a UFA and you can retool then. And we move on to one of the most critical pieces on the team, Sergei Bobrovsky, the $10 million man. You can't undersell how important a goalie is, but really it's the right goalie to fit your team. He's got 1 more year left on his $10 million 7-year contract with the Florida Panthers. And at age 36, we're unsure if he's going to re-sign one, what kind of discount he may be willing to take after it, but that's a problem for next year. For this year, he has done exactly what he was advertised to do. He was picked up as an unrestricted free agent. It was one of the boldest moves I had ever seen. I thought it was banana sandwich to sign a goalie like him to $10 million in 7 years. But they went and got their guy, and he has not disappointed. We know we have a 4th line to talk about. They all came in at or near league minimum. They were perfect players for this team. You can't undersell the importance of guys who have depth like Gadjevich, Nosek, Greer, and Boqvist. They're very important pieces to be able to find league minimum or at near $1 million guys that fit into your lineup and can eat those 8 to 9 minutes that you need them to eat on line 4. But the guys I love to focus on are Kulikov and Nate Schmidt. These are 2 guys that were considered washed. They played for the Winnipeg Jets under Paul Maurice. Maurice was very familiar with them, and this is why Maurice is such a good coach. He gives them new life. Schmidt finally gets the Stanley Cup that he's been chasing, one of the most popular guys in the NHL. If I ever won a lottery of who to go have a beer with in the NHL, it probably would be Nate Schmidt just because the stories would be off the wall. The guy seems like the friendliest guy on the planet. He loves his job. He loves his life. Great player. Absolute dynamic puck mover, and overplayed his contract in spades for the Florida Panthers. Same with Kulikov, returns to the team that drafted him after being a journeyman throughout the NHL. The long story short of this is that Bill, the Florida Panthers organization, the Florida Panthers fan base that stuck with this team, helped build a winner. It's not just taxes, it's finding ragtag players and diamonds in the rough that other players and other teams couldn't identify, and getting the right combination of players together to do this special run that they did. If you want a little bit more of an in-depth dive onto this topic as well too, the video that's about to pop up on your screen explains just what kind of Canadian influence happened to this roster. Because if anyone really is upset in my home country of Canada about players that ended up playing in Florida, here's an example of how Canadian teams fed the Florida Panthers and helped build this juggernaut. We'll catch you guys in the offseason. Ton more videos to come. We'll see you at the draft.